The whole time I am just feeling worried the whole time that somebody's going to send a photograph, like a naked photograph.
Naked dick pic, I send it only with one photos.
I was sent 120 sexual images and I could see them on my phone.
Sophie is not alone. Many women, including myself, have been bombarded with unsolicited images of male body parts. And this raises the question as to why this is becoming so prevalent. When we think of a flasher, we tend to think of the man in the overcoat with nothing underneath, exposing himself to strangers in a public place. But in the digital age, cyberflashing has become the current form of offending. Cyberflashing is the act of sending unsolicited sexual images to another person via social media, dating apps, or airdrop. But what motivates the sender to engage in this virtual form of flashing?
They can do things without being held accountable, and also just a lack of restrictions online as well. Lack of, I've kind of forgotten the word, but no one's really looking over what's happening. And yeah, people can just do it faceless, nameless. I massively think that's had a say in the increase of it.
If a man is sending pictures to women, just because they get exposure towards a porn website or some random websites like that, and because of hormones or any kind of issues with the men's and all, they try to do it.
The latest data shows that 76% of girls aged 12 to 18 have been sent unsolicited nude images of boys or men. The House of Parliament came in and they made the online safety bill. No one ever thought at that time that an MP, the people that have actually set this law, would actually get embroiled in the world of cyberflashing. But this year, that is exactly what's happened. One MP has ended up standing down from his job, and the government just don't know how to deal with this. I'm a mother to a 10-and-a-half-year-old girl. She's only 18 months shy of her 12th birthday, so I do worry that she could be one of the next victims. What do you think they're trying to do when they send a photograph? Do you think they're trying to get a photo back of you?
I think they might try to do something with the child, because children are more easy to get than adults, since children don't normally know what to do.
Do you always tell me if anything like that happens?
Yeah.
Because it's so worrying.
Yeah, I would tell you.
The first conviction for cyberflashing took place in 2024, after a 39-year-old man was found guilty for this offence and jailed for just over 15 months. I wanted to find answers as to why men send naked photos to young girls. I spoke to a man who had sent me such photos to understand what he, and others like him, get out of flashing over the internet.
Naked dick pic, I send it only with one photos. Because created. Because if you send with a photo bomb, disappear in few seconds. But if you send without photo bomb, the photo could be to the cloud. They don't have the motivation to meet that kind of girl and want to show it in all power, in all the in a election situation, not in without election. It's more about the testosterone. They want to demonstrate that they exist, and they want to demonstrate that they are charming, and they want to demonstrate that they want to have sex.
Victims who have been on the receiving end of unwanted cyberflashing often struggle with negative emotions as a result. We went to meet Sophie Gallagher, a journalist who has spent years writing on image-based sexual abuse, to find out about her first experience of receiving unsolicited pictures.
In 2017, I was travelling home from work on the London Underground, and I had my Bluetooth turned on my phone, and we pulled into a station connected to the Wi-Fi, and I was sent 120 sexual images and I could see them on my phone, and The person sitting next to me obviously could see that as well. It was a packed tube because it was rush hour. And I, getting all these pictures, felt really angry and then guilty, and you feel bad for having your Bluetooth on, but you also feel angry that it's happened in the first place, all that stuff. And I think the guilt thing is obviously really interesting, because I think in our society we still often put a lot of blame on women for the violence that happens to them, right? Why did you go that way home? Why didn't you take a taxi? Why did you drink that much? Why is your skirt that short? All of that stuff we're so familiar with, and it's the same with this. Why did you have your airdrop turned on in the first place is often the question you hear, and that's obviously the wrong question, right? It can be well-meaning. People genuinely think, oh, I'm trying to be helpful by giving you that advice, but it's just the wrong question. I spoke to women who changed the route that they took to work, or they changed how they use their phone, or they changed, or I don't go to that train station anymore, or I don't go to that place, or it changes how people then behave. It doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you feel like you should safeguard yourself going forward.
We wanted to delve further into the mind of a cyberflasher and travelled to meet forensic psychologist Dr. Dean Fido.
From a kind of a psychosexual perspective, however, we are also looking at how somebody might be more likely to engage in cyberflashing as a means of an atypical alignment and development of trying to gain sexual gratification and sexual mates. So, for example, instead of trying to meet somebody in a bar or using a dating app to begin that conversation, they might just cut to the chase and think, well, actually, if I'm somebody who can send lots of sexualized images, that might be a conversation starter, a relationship starter, or I might be getting sexualized images back from them.
Dr. Fido says there is still so much to do to tackle the mentality that enables cyberflashing to occur.
Lots of the time these behaviours are born out of perhaps an inability to engage in what we'd call typical sexual behaviour, typical generation and maintenance of healthy relationships. I believe that when we can identify individuals who are more likely to be at risk, personality traits and situations that will put people at risk, we can then develop educational-based interventions. So developing those intervention packages, bringing in victims to have the discussions about their perspectives, also bringing in perpetrators who can talk about what led them to do that and actually the impact it's had on them. We can almost help to put things in place to protect against those behaviours before they actually happen.
We contacted Meta as part of this production to put it to them that their photobomb feature enables and assists cyberflashers. I sent 3 emails to persist for an answer, but Meta chose not to reply.